Fellow Falcoholics, what is up? Welcome to episode 126 of the Falcoholic Live. I am your host, Kevin Knight, joined by a full house of co-hosts this evening. First of all, Eric Robinson. He is on Twitter at _Eric_Robinson. Eric, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good. I know you guys can't see me right now, but I am here and I'm doing great.
He promises that he is here. He's not just, a disembodied voice shouting into the void. Yeah. Like most of our takes. But, yes. Thank you for coming, Eric. We appreciate you. Also with us tonight, Adnan Ikic at Say Which Way on Twitter. Adnan, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. Did you guys see those rumors about Marvin Lewis potentially getting a head coaching job?
I did. Well,
Where?
You guys already know where I'm going with this.
Where? In Houston? Oh, that would go.
That would be perfect. That would be totally perfect.
Man.
Yeah, maybe LA, who knows?
Right.
Yeah. Oh, New York. Hell yeah.
The possibilities really are endless, for Marvin Lewis. He can.
I just know one thing: he better not be coaching.
Just one team specifically. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Actually, let's be honest. He's probably going to go to Cincinnati.
Yeah, if we're being honest.
The Bengals can never just quit him.
Yeah, they'll be like, well, this Zach Taylor guy, he's pretty good, but I just can't. We just can't really get into him. You know what I'm saying? Poor Bengals. Poor Bengals.
The guy has the longest tenure for a media.
The Bengals have suffered through so much.
I don't think he ever won one playoff game.
No. But he coached like 15 years.
Yep.
It would be like if Mike Smith was still our coach. He won one.
Mike Smith shout out early in the show tonight. But yeah, guys, we're going to be getting to also Evan Birchfield joining us tonight. At Evan Birchfield on Twitter. Very easy to remember. Evan, how are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Excellent. Yeah. I know a lot of you, specifically Tyler Raines, have come here, taking time off their Cyberpunk 2077 playing, so we appreciate you guys for delaying that or possibly multi-screening. I don't judge if you're going to multitask. For us, I understand, and everyone else, welcome as well. We are going to get to the Saints game a little bit. We're going to deliver some Dirk Koetter slander because there's been some other stuff that's come out this week, basically confirming stuff that we thought about the initial hiring of Dirk Koetter, but that was confirmed by a beat writer we all trust. So we'll get into that. We'll get to some draft takes, some free agency discussion. Obviously, we'll take your questions throughout the show. Feel free to throw those in there whenever you want. And in the meantime, we will, I guess at some point we'll get to this Chargers game, which I'm pretty sure will cause a black hole to form because these two teams are like the most cursed teams in the league coming up against each other, right? Like, it's just, I don't know what's going to happen. Something bad, I assume.
I'm just putting it out there right now. We need to lose this game.
Well,
I forget all about that game.
Right.
If we lose this game, we will legitimately probably have a top 5.
Yeah, and, that wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, right?
Which means they'll blow out the Chargers.
Oh yeah,
absolutely. They'll blow out the Chargers and then they'll sweep the Bucs or some shit.
Yeah, some weird thing like that. Yeah. But yeah, let's. I know a lot of you guys. I know Eric and Adnan were here on the post game to dish on Koetter. We got a lot of chance to talk about that game. Evan, I can't remember if you got in at the end or if you were there the whole time or.
No, okay. I was doing with DW
That's
other
right.
post game.
So you're fresh. You got fresh takes for the people.
I'm fresh, but I've kind of moved on to where I don't want to look more at it. But I'm sure it's pretty much what everybody here was saying. It's just I don't know. It was boring.
He gave DW all the takes. Left none for us.
Yeah, all my energy went into that, unfortunately. But I don't know. I guess I got to eat my words because I think it was Eric who asked on the last show about re-signing Gurley, and it just I was wrong.
I was wrong.
I don't know how else to say it.
Right.
I'm putting myself on blast because
All right, man.
you get more production out of Vito Smith. and I know he's got like his knee flaring up or whatever, but that's a problem. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just
Not to mention he's a liability late in games.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. It's yeah.
Very good news about Ito though is he does not have a concussion apparently.
That's good.
So that's huge.
Yeah, that's good news.
Like just for his.
I think Ricardo has a concussion. I think that was the only concussion I saw.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's close. With Ito, it's so tenuous with his status because he has had so many concussions. You just never know, like, when it could be his last one. So I'm very thankful for that. Obviously, that he is not concussed again. That was a rough hit that he had to take. So I'm glad that was not injurious to him in terms of concussion. Obviously, it's never good to be injured at all. But yeah, so dodged a bullet there for sure. Yeah, I mean, to me, the most frustrating thing was obviously the offense. I'm sure you guys concur. Because I think the defense actually played pretty well in that game. But
agree to disagree.
Agreed. I mean, I guess I don't have super high expectations for the defense. So whenever they like hold someone to, a low number of points, and by low I mean, less than, I don't know, 25, 27, I don't know, some high number that's like low for them, I guess I feel like that's a good performance. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't like good in terms of like, is this a good, it wasn't, good compared to like the Raiders' performance, but the Raiders also shot themselves in the foot like 5 different times. So it is what it is there. Jesus. Yeah.
I know it's like it's hard to sit here and criticize players because we don't know the type of offense Dirk Koetter's calling and stuff like that. But what are your guys' thoughts on like how Hayden Hurst, like some games it's like he seems like he's a big part of the game plan, but like against the Saints in 2 games, he had 1 catch for 9 yards. Like he's pretty much been a non-factor in certain games where some games he's like, like he, against the Lions, I mean, not against Lions, against the Vikings, he had 4 catches and a touchdown. But he just doesn't seem like. Do you think he's been worth that 2nd round pick we traded?
I mean,
no.
Yes.
No.
I mean, the pick wasn't just for this year because we do have him next year too, and then we also have the potential for.
And
the
I don't want to base this year on that, but I'm just like certain games. It's like he's not even. I don't know.
Yeah,
it doesn't seem like he's really been involved, and that might not be his fault, but
right. Like to me, it does. It does remind me a little bit of like Austin Hooper's early years here, where he was like he would occasionally have big games, but then he would kind of disappear. And it might just be that like Ryan's getting used to him in the offense. It took a few years for Hooper. It generally does take a few years for tight ends to really incorporate. So like, I do think that he'll have a larger role like next year. I think a better play caller would be using him more effectively as well. But yeah, I don't think he's being. Yeah, like Tony Colburn in the chat said, like I don't think he's being properly utilized. Clearly, you'd think that they would make him a bigger part of the game plan based on what they gave up for him. I mean, you'd think the same thing about Calvin Ridley, right? It seems like at times that Calvin Ridley is an afterthought in the game plan. So maybe even calling it a game plan at all is generous at this point.
I think when it comes, well, for starters, I do think he was worth the 2nd round pick. He's already surpassed his numbers from Baltimore from last year. He actually did that after like 6 games. He surpassed his entire season last year in Baltimore. He's already had this year. He has 3 receiving touchdowns, and that goes in comparison to having 3 total receiving touchdowns in 2 years with Baltimore. So he's already, to me, exceeding whatever standards that were set in Baltimore. I think he has like. I know for sure he's probably got about 6, maybe 7 games where he's getting at least 6 targets a game. He's even got a couple games where he got 8 targets a game. So he's being utilized. I think when it comes to the Saints games, the Saints matchups, I think that was just him running into a solid defense that has solid linebackers. Mario Davis, Quan Alexander, those guys are athletic as they can be. And they're pretty good when it comes to being in coverage. So I think he just ran into the ball. when it comes to those two teams. You go back to other games, go back to the Dallas game, he was a huge factor. You go back to, I think it might have been after the first New Orleans matchup where Koetter came out publicly and said we need to utilize him better. Well, yeah, you probably do. But that was him admitting, like, yeah, we didn't incorporate him as much as we wanted to. So I think he's already exceeded expectations. He's going to be fine. I just think he just ran into a really solid defense.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to disagree overall on Hurst. I think he can become worth the second rounder. Like I'm willing to eat that crow next year if an offensive coordinator comes in and just unlocks his potential and he becomes this fantastic tight end. But I mean, looking back at his days in Baltimore, he had 163 yards and 349 yards. Like the bar wasn't set that high with the Ravens. He was the backup behind William Andrews. I think Dennis Pitta was there his rookie year, and he was playing behind him as well. So, I mean, his numbers don't jump out of the page, but I'm not gonna completely condemn him because obviously it's pretty hard to evaluate anyone in Dirk Koetter's offense this year because Dirk Koetter has really just you can't say enough about how much he's held the offense back. But right now, like as of today, I'd rather have the second round pick.
that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what they would have done with that second round pick, so that matters a lot too. Obviously, like what exactly they would have done. But yeah, I mean, I think that it will end up being worth it in the long run. But at this point, I guess it's maybe an open question. But it's so hard to get early production out of a tight end to begin with. So I don't know. Like I guess it's too early for me to really say.
I think he's been fine. I think he's okay.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned, you brought up the fact that it literally took Cooper 4 years for him to actually be established as a weapon. So this is only her third year in the league. You got to keep that in mind as well. Again, I just think he ran into a couple solid defenses. This defense also held I know they didn't have a quarterback, but they held more offense than what they had the week before against Denver. So they have some production against tight ends this year. It's just like I said, I think it's a combination of having going up against a solid defense, having an offensive coordinator that literally doesn't know what the hell he's doing in the booth, and also not having much of a run game going on, so he's easier to key on when it comes to opposing defenses. Yeah, I think he'll be okay.
I think the other thing for me is the opportunity cost. Like right now, would you rather have Hayden Hurst or Jeremy Chin, for example? And I mean, Jeremy Chin on like the first year of a rookie deal where you're going to have more team control over him in a few years. I mean, like I'm not out here trying to bash Hayden Hurst. I'm just trying to look at it from the other perspective a little bit as well.
My playing devil's advocate with that is, how do we know, knowing the draft history of playing how do we know that they even would pulled in Jeremy Chin? I mean, I think it would have been a great draft, but this is also a head coach GM combination that they don't like to give up on their guys. So you think they would have brought in Chin knowing how much faith they're going to put in Keanu for the season? Like, that's the thing. I don't even know if they would have pulled the trigger on that.
Yeah, but they also rejected Keanu's fifth-year option. So they may have been looking toward the future afterwards, because if they really had all the full faith in Keanu Neal, they wouldn't have rejected the option. Actually, no, they rejected Tack's option. I don't think they would have accepted Keanu's option, but it immediately kicked in with his injury. So Keanu was coming off of back-to-back season-ending injuries. Right. Like there's no way it wasn't in the back of their minds of, all right, maybe like he's going to be hurt again, because they ended up taking Jalen Hawkins later on anyway.
Which, let's be honest, it wasn't that much of a. They took a guy They took a guy in a just in case situation. They didn't provide much. They left the door open for Keanu, which is what they've normally done with I mean, they've done it with Vic, they've done it with Tack. You know, they try not to make much competition because they want these guys to win the job. So, you know, going back to that, like, it is a great point that you brought up, and I do wish that they would have, you know, had an opportunity to get a guy like Jeremy Pin. I just don't trust that they would have pulled the trigger there on that situation and said, okay, yeah, we need to add him.
Yeah. I don't know. I have so many like issues with the way this team has been built that it's kind of hard to put them all into words. But like,
not to mention this year's tight end class, you know, has it really blossomed?
Right, it hasn't this year. I mean, I think we all knew that was a pretty poor tight end class, so that was part of the reason they made the trade too. I think
next year's is not that great. I mean, they got a couple guys at the top.
Yeah, I mean, like Pitts is really good, but other than him,
Brevin Jordan is solid, but
Freiermuth.
Yeah, Freiermuth.
Yeah.
If he enters the draft, he may come back next year. But I mean, I think right now we can say Hayden Hurst is probably better than majority of the tight ends.
Yeah, I think so, especially this class, like you said. Yeah, guys. So yeah, I'm a big fan of Hayden Hurst, but I mean, to me, ultimately, I think it's like a utilization problem, and I think it's an offensive problem, and that brings us, you know, to the Dirk Koetter slander portion of the podcast, which will probably be, you know, 80% of the podcast.
This is a weekly segment.
It is. We should have like a banner that comes up or something for the Dirk Koetter bashing hour, and like, look, Dirk, like if you don't want us to do it, like don't make it so easy, okay? Because you're making it really easy now. Like, I just don't even know where to start with him, man. I know somebody sent me a video to watch on Twitter. I did not have a chance to get to it before the show. It was the DJ Shockley breaking down that game and kind of also going in on Dirk Koetter. So it's something I'm interested in watching for sure. But I mean, he's probably going to touch on some of the same things that I said, which is that, you know, Dirk Koetter's route combinations just do nothing. Like it seems like they're almost like comically bad. Like they just don't really, they don't help. Like it's just like he picked some routes out of a hat and had the receivers go run them. Like that one rub route we saw in the end zone, like two guys ran into each other. They was so bad. Like I think the announcers called attention to it. It was like, oh, well, it looks like they both of them ran the same route and hit each other. It's like, no, I think that Dirk Koetter just doesn't know what he's doing.
I want to know. I know we'll never find out. I want to know how often with Julio and Ridley and Gay, how often are they on the field and they're thinking to themselves like, man, I should run my own.
I should do my own. I'm just gonna freelance this.
I don't want to know if they ever done it. I just want to know how often they think, like, man, this is not going to work.
Yeah, it's rough, man. It's real rough.
Not to mention, that's another Falcons writer who has publicly said something about Koetter. You know, meanwhile, there's another one that's going to Dirk Koetter like it's.
Yeah, I mean, even Kelsey was like tweeting out some like, you know, somewhat shade on Koetter. Like she didn't say it, you know, specifically, but I think we all knew who she was talking about, if we're being honest.
Yeah,
so
you put that out there.
Right, yeah. I mean, someone in the chat said it. We all know who we're talking about, but yeah. Also, guys, this is going to be my quick reminder that you should like the video if you don't mind. That helps other folks find us on YouTube. And hit that subscribe button as well if you're not already subscribed. Get those notifications. Help us out. Appreciate that. I've got the new links in the show description that will tell you where to go to tip if you're so inclined. It'll tell you where how to join the Discord, which is bumping now. We got about 80 Falcons fans in there now. It's a daily discussion, so check that out. The Patreon is live as well if you want to support the show on like a monthly basis, get some unique perks, all that good stuff. The link is there as well, so check that out, guys. I know Abixis was saying that there might be some problem with the tip page right now. I'm trying to check that out, so I think Abixis, maybe you're coming from Europe too, so I don't know if that has anything to do with it or not. But yeah, if anybody else is planning to tip, if you could test that out at some point and let me know if it's working, I would appreciate that. Only if you were thinking of it. Don't like go out of your way. You don't have to go out of your way. But if you're planning on it, you could maybe help us out, troubleshoot a little bit. So we appreciate that. But yeah. So getting back to the reason everyone's here, which is the Dirk Koetter slander, and I'm happy to make this our brand. I'm happy to be the brand ambassador for slandering Dirk Koetter. He just doesn't I think somebody asked on the Discord. Speaking of the Discord today, what does Dirk Koetter do well? It was one of this very nice Saints fan that's joined the Discord. He was like, well, what? Can you guys say anything nice about Dirk Koetter? What does he do well? And honestly, I was kind of stumped.
No, I have something. I mean, he makes defensive coordinators feel good about themselves.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I mean, he raises their level of confidence overall, except for Mike Nolan. Mike Nolan is apparently the only defensive coordinator who just got completely wrecked by Dirk Koetter offense.
Yeah. I mean, I couldn't think of anything. I don't think his scheme really helps anyone. I think it's the nicest thing I could say was that his offense is functional. I mean, it's not Adam Gase levels of bad, but
it's functional in what at the NFL level.
Yeah, I mean it's functional.
No,
but
this is not an NFL offense. I think whatever success that they have had this year, it's based on the amount of talent that they have.
Yeah.
If they would have had a mediocre grouping of offensive players, it would have been absolutely brutal to watch.
Right.
To me, this scheme does not work in the NFL.
Yeah, can you imagine Koetter with the Jets offense?
Oh my God.
He'd be a disaster, man. Total disaster.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Right, yeah. I think Nico said folks with Younghoe Koo fantasy love Koetter. So that's a nice thing.
Love Koetter,
he's the kicker kingmaker. He's the kicker kingmaker. So there's that.
You know what? This team is averaging 25, 26 a game.
I mean, yeah, if that.
That Jets offense, 14.
Yeah, it would be bad. It'd be real bad. Yeah. Well, it's I'm trying to, we have such a long list of things that he does bad. It was kind of shocking to me that I really couldn't think of something that was good. Ali Shakur with the $1 tip, brother. Thank you.
There's no creativity to it. There's no deceptiveness to it. There's no flow. There's no continuity. It's just guys on the field running on. That's basically it.
Yeah.
He's great for the tank.
Yes. And also joining us now, Keenan Forney, former Falcons offensive guard. Keenan, can you hear us okay?
What's up, man? It's been forever.
What's up, y'all? What's up? Hey.
We missed you, bro. I think we've had a couple conflicts the last couple times, but we do miss you, bro. Welcome back.
Fans are asking where the hell you are. They're
yeah, they're oh, who are these bums? Bring back Keenan. Yeah.
Oh man, no man, I'm sorry I'm late, y'all. My son, 9th grade basketball team, they had a game tonight. So yeah, I'm in this thing. What's up with y'all?
That's what's up, man. We of course we wanna know your take on the we had you on for the past couple games. So just what you've seen from the veteran of just Falcons football the past couple of weeks.
Last game we had without being too technical, we had our chances to win. We just didn't do it. I'm glad about this. I'm glad the O-line played a little bit better. They didn't give up 9 sacks.
Right.
My man Caleb went out there. He battled Cam Jordan. You know what I mean? He battled his ass off, and he showed that he could go out there and go toe-to-toe with some of the better elite rushers out there. So he's got something to hang his hat on going forward. But, man, we just we had our chances. We didn't do it.
Keenan, I'm curious. What is that film room like? And not just the offensive line, if any position group just plays absolutely horribly, if the corners are getting burned or the D-line is getting no penetration, are they being called out in the film room openly, or is it just some side eyes over there you're not doing your job?
It could be both. I know some coaches, when it's going bad like that, Dan Reeves used to have a thing where he would have a team-wide film review, offense, defense, special teams, and we're going to sit here and we're going to go through the tape, and Dan is going to call out every bad thing going on. You could do something good, and it's still bad. So I don't know if they're doing that over there, but there's definitely going to be some side-eyeing from one position group to the next because everybody knows who ain't balling, who ain't doing good. Everybody knows that. Let's be honest. Hell, the public knows it, so hell, they know it too, They might be a little bit more encouraging about it, but if it keeps happening week after week after week, after a while it gets to be like, God dang, man.
Right.
Make a play.
Yeah.
Yeah, make a play. What the hell?
We should have 2 more wins.
Hey, after a while, it gets to where people stop being nice and start being real.
Yep, exactly. I mean, that's what happens.
The real world around that bitch.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, because we always ask you questions from the offensive standpoint. What is something that on the defensive side of the ball? What is something that you wanted to see that you actually saw this past Sunday against the Saints?
I wanted to see them shut out the second string quarterback.
Okay. Yeah.
I got to thinking what the hell would have happened if Drew Brees was in there? You know?
Yeah, that's a good point.
I wanted us to go out and take advantage of the backup quarterback.
Yep.
He's a backup for a reason, not have him to look like the NFC player of the week out there,
Yeah.
Y'all know he had 18 pass attempts in his career coming into that first game against us. 18 in his entire career. And then he just went off for 230, which 230 yards doesn't sound like a lot, but come on, it's Taysom Hill, man.
It's Taysom Hill.
Kind of classified as a running quarterback, and he went out there and looked like, hey, he gonna get him a nice deal when his time is up.
This man is a tight end. He's a tight end.
He hadn't thrown a touchdown, I think, since 2016, and then he threw 2.
Yeah, and that was a BYU. He never had one in the NFL.
Yep.
He had 73 passing yards the week before. 73.
Yeah, and that Broncos offense isn't exactly
the
world beaters out there.
Yeah,
Taysom gonna get him a nice deal, y'all watch.
He's already making $18 million, right? So
off the Falcons. We'll get one off the Falcons.
Yep. Yeah, I think this is the long game by the Falcons, right? To make sure that the Saints invest in Taysom Hill as their quarterback, and they're just really trying to boost his stats, just to make sure.
I will say this. I will give them credit. They changed the game plan. They were aggressive. They were trying to get after him. You go back to the first matchup. They were tentative. They were sitting back. They didn't really put any pressure on Taysom in that game. This past week, they were trying to get after him. They blitzed just about every play, and that's what I wanted to see.
Yeah.
The thing that you want to see from teams, regardless if it's the college level or the NFL level, if you're going up against a team that's, like the number 1 seed or one of the top teams in the league, those opportunities to make a play, they're going to come. There may be fewer,
right?
Because you're playing a team like the Saints, but they're going to come. And when those opportunities come, you got to make that play, man. It's there.
Yeah, they were there were so many near misses, and part of it is turnovers really are just very random. That's kind of the nature of turnovers, but those ones, when you get the opportunity, you have to make it, man. You have to grab that ball.
They dropped 2 picks. They had the forced fumble.
Yeah.
That didn't roll in there.
That was just unlucky. Yeah, but Isaiah Oliver was so close to becoming a fan favorite. He could have completely reversed all of the hate directed at him by catching that pick and running it in for a touchdown.
Now, but don't get me wrong. Now that they did get the stop the next
right, they did.
But that's a momentum swinging play in that situation. You get it off the field. The team just scored. Now you need to stop. Boom, that turnover right there in a 5-point game with a shorter field. Man, that would have been huge.
The AJ Terrell drop pick was also really egregious.
Yeah.
That was completely underthrown, and he didn't punish Hill for it at all. He just let it go completely. It hit him in both hands. I know that they play secondary because they aren't good enough, as wide receivers catching the ball. But come on, man, you expect a defensive lineman to catch that one.
Right. These are NFL corners, Some of these guys actually can catch. So.
What do you think of that 3rd and 17 where they played prevent and gave up the first down?
They gave up so many 3rd and longs in this game, dude. That was the most egregious.
But that one stuck out more to me than anything. Yeah. Just everybody dropping back for no reason.
Yeah, I mean I
don't know. It just seemed kind of cowardice.
It was.
It was completely cowardice.
He ran a comeback route. What do you think he's going to run?
What do you think he's going to run? Yeah, you got to just don't give it to him, man.
And they had, I think it was Terrell or somebody started dropping back who was already back far enough and just kept, they were going deep.
Yeah, he was backpedaling. He kept backpedaling beyond the sticks.
He ran a 17-yard comeback route. Come on, man.
and what was infuriating was the Saints were on the 41 right there, and you're running prevent, you're rushing 3, and you're just giving up the potential field goal. He had Kamara on a wide open check down, and I'm like, why are you just conceding the field goal and you don't have to? And maybe send some pressure and you can get them even more out of field goal range, force a punt.
Stop rushing 3.
Yes, for the love of God. Your coverage is nowhere near good enough to rush 3. It's just not. That's the word. I like Terrell. I like Terrell. He's a good player. He needs to stick around. I think maybe we've got something in Darquise Dennard if we can get him to come back. There are some pieces in the secondary, but as a whole, the coverage is the worst in the league. So we can't rush 3. We can't afford it.
I know what type of offense I'm going up against. I'm playing cover 2 man. I'm playing cover 2 over the top, man underneath. If you're going to beat me, you're going to have to complete a 30-yard pass down the field. I'm not going to give you 16 yards and let Michael Thomas get out of bounds.
Yeah.
No.
I think in that situation, they probably felt like, man, we can't really rush 4, so maybe we can just play coverage.
You can't rush 4, but they can't beat you deep. Who on that offense is going to stress the defense?
Bro, I would have rather gone with the Greg Williams cover 0 blitz there. I would have rather seen that.
Balls to the wall. Yeah.
I'm just saying because even in that situation, you're thinking they're not going to be as deep. They're not a vertical passing offense. You got to think here. It's just give them their, that's their bread and butter. Comeback.
Yeah. Yeah. It was egregious. And that's part of the reason why, I think I don't really like this flavor of defense that they run. It's just very, and part of it is probably to do with the fact they know that they can't trust the offense, so the defense feels like they can't, give up any plays. But, you have, pretty soon this offense is going to be top 5. It's going to be a dangerous offense that's going out there and scoring points every single week. I firmly believe that when we get our new coach in here, it's going to be one of these dominant NFL offenses. So the defense, when you have an offense like that, the defense can play a little more aggressive. They can play a little more risky. They can take some chances. They can try to bait and get some turnovers. They can try to send pressure. I think that's the type of defense you need to pair with this offense, because this conservative style, it's not preventing the plays because the coverage is struggling, and it's also not generating the positive plays that a more aggressive defense might. It's you're getting the worst of both worlds. You're getting these big gains given up despite your conservative play calling, and you're not getting the sacks and the interceptions that you would normally get from an aggressive scheme. So it's you're not really committing to one thing or the other. You're not getting the benefits of either one by doing that either. So I feel pretty strongly that we just need a new direction on the defensive side of the ball as well. But yeah, we'll see. Raheem Morris is clearly doing a better job than what was done under Dan Quinn. That's obvious, but other than that, that's not exactly a high bar to clear. So, for being honest. So, and I know JL Hunt's asking a question about DCs and coaches, and we're going to transition to that here in just a minute. And I have Michael Zurich's donation to read as well. But did you guys have any final takes about this Saints game before we move on?
I can care less what happens the rest of the season, man.
I got a question, man. How many, y'all know I always got the players' backs, but also too I'm objective. Like, how many pressure sacks did our free agent defensive end get? Dante Fowler.
Dante Fowler. Ho ho.
He has one all season.
Oh boy.
Like, I mean, did he even pinch the bitch? You know what I'm saying? Like,
No.
He has more nut kicks than he does sacks this year, or as many.
Yeah.
Oh man, like I mean, yeah, bro, you gotta step it up a little bit more. I know you might be injured and have stuff going on, but bro, you gotta. I mean, they gave you that money for a reason, man.
Yeah, no, one tackle.
Oh my God.
One tackle.
It's real bad. It's real bad, brother.
Bro.
And he also has one missed tackle. So
there you go.
No
At least he's consistent. Yeah.
No quarterback downs. No hurries.
Well, once the god Jacob
hell
Tuati
are we
Mariner, once the god Jacob Tuati Mariner left the game, we knew the pass rush wasn't going to be the same. But
bro, had we lit $17 million on fire, at least we would have gotten some heat from it. Like, on the cold nights, at least it would have provided some heat.
It's providing more heat than Dante Fowler is on the quarterback, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. No hurries, no quarterback knockdowns, nothing like this. And that's one thing I harped on a lot when it came to Tack and Vic. Like, it's one thing, the sack numbers are one thing, but there were times you guys are not even touching the quarterback. Like, goodness.
Yeah.
Like, that is problematic to me.
Right. Like, if you could at least make him step up and somebody else get him or something.
Look, if you get 9 sacks in a year, all right, fine. But if you got 50 or 60 quarterback knockdowns, I'm looking at that like, okay, you at least getting in the grill. You win the sack, but you getting in the grill. They're not doing that, man. Jesus Christ.
It's really sad.
And that's what we was talking about earlier. I was sitting there wondering, like, they rushing 3 because they like, man, we can't get there with 4, so we might as well just play coverage.
Dude, cough on them or something, man. Please. Jesus Christ.
Scare him somehow. I don't know. Yell bad words at him. I don't know. Do anything.
Nope.
I mean, I want them to all play well, but if you're not playing well, come on now. They brought you for a reason, bro. Come on now.
Hey, Tack's best move. Tack's best move this season has been going to the bank and cashing that direct deposit check.
Hey, where is Tack at right now?
Oh, not Tack. I meant Fowler. I meant Fowler. Sorry.
No, good question. Who knows? Nobody knows where Tack is.
Yeah. Tack is on IR right now with
and he
with the Raiders.
4 teams in 3 weeks, but he busy tweeting.
Right. Yeah, he's out there liking tweets about the Falcons lost.
Get on the field first. Get on the field. All right. And
yeah. No, I mean it's.
Raiders.
Yeah. It's bad, but yeah, I mean, obviously Fowler has been a giant bust. I'm still somewhat hopeful that maybe somebody else can, some other coaching staff can get something else out of him. But Randy Williams asked who's been a worse signing, Gurley or Fowler? Fowler by a mile. Fowler by a whole mile. Yeah, Gurley at least got touchdowns. Gurley hasn't been great.
He'll be gone this year. But are we attached to Fowler for a couple more seasons?
Yes,
at least for one more.
Technically, Fowler hasn't cost the Falcons games.
Right.
So we can't say about running.
Technically speaking.
Man.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, you got to look at it.
Oh, man, we still feeling bad about the should I kneel?
He did us a favor, though.
I'm talking about this week.
Hey, Evan's right. When we're picking 5 instead of 11 at the end of the season, we'll be seeing
Todd Gurley respecting the tank. You love to see it, okay? You love to see it, folks. Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, it's pretty clear that Fowler has been worse.
I know shaving points when I see it. He damn sure did it this past week.
Oh, man.
Man, yeah, poor Gurley. But, hey, if he gets this team like Trey Lance or a top-tier pass rusher cornerback, everyone's going to be thanking him in hindsight. So,
all right, you mentioned Trey Lance, but I'm the Matt Ryan hater.
Right? Yeah. No, we're going to get. Yeah, I got. Speaking of Trey Lance or quarterbacks, Michael Zerk's got some heat for Adnan here. So Adnan is going to love Michael Zerk with the $2. First of all, thank you, brother, for your donation. Adnan's going to love to hear this, but I, aka Michael Zurek, wants Matt Ryan to get traded, not because I don't want him as our quarterback, but because I feel like he deserves so much better right now. I really want the fans that have hated on him to realize what we had. Yeah, I mean, people are going to be missing him when he's gone, man. I guarantee you that. Like, even if we get a quarterback in here, like a young guy, I mean, it's unlikely they're going to be as good as Matt Ryan to start their career. Like, Matt Ryan was historically good to start his career. I mean,
greatest Falcon in franchise history.
Yeah, and like he hit the ground running. Like they were immediately contending with Matt Ryan. So
look, here's my thing. I know it worked with Matt Ryan.
They did a good job. They surrounded him with a good ground.
They did.
Michael Turner
took a lot of pressure off of him.
I know they
also great O-line.
We're starting a rookie quarterback, okay? I'm not trying to experience that again.
No, we shouldn't. We shouldn't.
They got a little lucky with Matt. I don't want to do that. I want to keep a bridge as long as we can, okay? I don't want to be in the Cincinnati situation where you throw your rookie quarterback out there, he gets banged up his rookie year. He gets hit left. I want to avoid that at all costs. That's one reason why I don't want to trade him.
Yeah.
I'd rather draft a quarterback and let him sit for 2 years and learn.
Yeah, it also depends on what you have around him because, like Keenan mentioned, you had Michael Turner,
right,
who I still look at to this day as arguably the greatest franchise or the greatest free agent signing in franchise history. It's between he and Alex Mack. But I just look at the intangibles of what Michael Turner did that isn't on the stat sheet, and he did a lot on the stat sheet. Like he was amazing.
He was a monster, man.
A fantasy football like royalty those few years. But he took so much pressure off of Matt Ryan, and he made the defenses completely look at him. He was the complete engine of those offenses the first few years under Matt Ryan. And also Ryan had that amazing offensive line. Harvey Dahl, Justin Blaylock, Todd McClure, Tyson Claybo, and
Sam Baker. They had a good line up front. And they had Roddy White and Mike Jenkins coming into their own.
Yep, and then they gave him Tony Gonzalez in his second year.
And then Julio Jones.
And then Julio Jones. Like Matt Ryan, that first year, I think the Falcons gave up the fewest sacks in the NFL.
Yeah.
I think they gave up like 18 sacks that entire year. Like that's huge for a rookie quarterback. And that's huge that you surround that kind of talent around your rookie.
I think Turner had a career year in terms of carries that year too, right? That's the main reason why.
Yeah. Oh, he was run into the ground by Mike Mularkey. Absolutely run into the ground.
Of course, at that time, the league didn't know much about because he was backing up LT.
Yeah, and we saw honestly under Mike Mularkey, the Falcons were actually really efficient. It's kind of like the opposite of Dirk Koetter's offenses, which is funny because I think a lot of people maligned Mularkey for his offenses being, lower scoring in general, but Mularkey's 2010 offense was legitimately really impressive in terms of efficiency, and I mean scoring efficiency because on a play-by-play basis they were 25th in yards. They were not generating a lot of yards.
It was a boring offense,
right? But they were 8th in scoring. They were 8th in scoring and 25th in yards per play because their red zone efficiency was stupid high. So just hats off to Mike Mularkey for showing Dirk Koetter how it's done. So
also, Adnan was basically right. In 2008, he was sacked 17 times, and then 2009 was 19. So
yeah, that's crazy.
I
think he's already been sacked
those
more than
first 2 years.
My
he slowly got sacked more every year. It was 23, 26, 28, and then 44 in 2013.
And they gave up 8 sacks 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they gave up.
That was a weird week, though. This offensive line is not that bad. They really shouldn't have given up that many sacks.
No, they're not. They're really not. And some of that does fall on Ryan holding the ball too long, which falls on Dirk Koetter calling those terrible routes where nobody was open.
I think we pointed out in that show after that game that I think Matt was at fault for about 4 of those sacks.
Yeah. He just seemed really out of sorts that game. Yeah.
And just to back up what Eric said, because he was also right about Michael Turner, he never had more than 80 carries in a season with the Chargers. And then 2008, he had 376.
My goodness. Yeah, that's a lot of carries. Holy crap. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus.
That's
No
a
wonder-
shit ton.
No wonder by the time we got to 2012, that man had like very.
Oh my
He was just like ground to dust by that point. My goodness.
I'm not going. I'd be mad if I was Michael Turner. I'd feel like I was done dirty if I was Michael Turner because he just got completely worn out, and right when it was time for payday, it's just like he just had nothing left.
I'll say something in that huddle. Hey, Michael,
Right.
we running again? I just ran it, man.
Usually the running back's like, oh yeah, give me the ball, man, give me the ball. He's just like 30
He
carries
gets
in,
home
you know.
nothing.
Yeah,
No,
30
just
carries
hugging
in.
and
He's like,
pumping by the third
oh
quarter.
no, it's okay. Like I'm good. Like it's okay. You can give the ball to somebody else. Like it's fine. We can pass. Like we can pass this time. It's all right. Like
We should have, but Jarius Norwood was always hurt in 08.
yeah, that's true.
You know what? Yeah,
Like, he had that speed.
You brought that name. That number, that carries number, might be a little lower if Jarius was able to
Man,
stay healthy.
he could have been so good. Like his yards per carry and like his per touch production was so good. Like it's just really sad that the injuries kind of derailed his career. But yeah, Norwood could have been special, I think.
Noah was special.
I mean, he was, yeah.
Yeah, he was special. I mean, you know, he just them ankle, them
Yeah.
lower leg injuries started. You know, they take a toll on you, man.
They do, man. Yeah,
Especially at that position.
yeah,
Was it
it's so
eight?
hard.
Yeah, hamstring problems. Didn't he?
I think it was like ankle and
Hamstring, ankle,
Yeah.
or ankle issues.
Something like that.
yeah. So that's
And you
sad.
know, Jarius wasn't thick like how Michael Turner is.
Right,
Yeah.
right, yeah,
Complete greyhound, you know.
yeah,
Pretty slender guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. Shout out to Jason Snelling, superstar VFR. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, man, it's like we're gonna get to some. I know people are asking about GM candidates and stuff like that, so we'll have to get to that.
While we're shouting out players from that era,
Yeah,
shout out to Obi Mahaley as a
Oh man,
fullback.
yeah,
One of the
Ovi, shout out.
One of the
Yeah.
best in the game.
Oh yeah, yeah. I miss Ovi. Good guy. A lot of fun. To watch. That was back when they still threw the ball to the fullback. You know, from time to time. You know, we don't do that anymore.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah,
I still miss Patrick DeMarco.
yeah. DeMarco, man.
Hey, bro, I'll tell you what, we weren't losing 6 games and 7 tries against the Saints back then.
Right? Yeah. You know. But hey, when you're right, you're right.
Hey, can I tell y'all a funny story about Ovi real quick?
Yeah.
We get
Absolutely.
I remember for Ovi. He
Oh,
was
no.
and he went on a date. I'm not gonna put the. Hello.
Yeah. Okay. You're back.
He
Yeah.
went
We
on
got.
a date with a celebrity. Like, yeah, he went to, I guess it was a team party or something or whatever, right? I'm not gonna say the girl's name, but I'll tell y'all when we get off later, okay? But yes, Hall of Fame linebacker used to date her too, and so Ovi shows up with her. They having a good time, and I guess she sees somebody who she used to date, which is this Hall of Fame linebacker. I'm not gonna say any names, and pretty soon. They started conversing, and next thing you know, oh, I'm just gonna leave with him. I'll see you later. Bye.
Wow.
Hey, well.
Man, she did him dirty,
How do
man.
you recover from that?
Oh.
Oh man.
How do you compete with a Hall of Famer, though, man? That's rough.
Fight. Hey, you got to fight, man. You'll fight.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, it's a Hall of Famer. You gotta be careful. Like, you gotta.
Go back.
Yeah,
Fight.
yeah. Fullbacks do fight. I mean, you gotta be tough at that position. I mean, you gotta be tough everywhere, but especially a fullback. But I do wonder if it was like, yeah. I mean, it's a linebacker. They go up against each other in practice. I mean, he probably had a good shot there, but.
Yeah. I'm sorry for telling that story, Ovi, but hey, you know, hey.
Don't worry. I'm sure he never
It's funny now,
watches.
baby.
Yeah.
It's funny now. It makes you laugh.
Yeah, it's a good story.
For the people.
Yeah, it's for the people. It's for you guys. So, exclusive
people,
content.
for the people.
Yeah, exclusive content. We love that stuff. But yeah, I know a lot of people are asking about the GM candidates that we heard about this week, so we're going to get to that now. Once again, guys, like and subscribe if you haven't already. And check out the Patreon, check out the Discord, all that good stuff. All right, so GM candidates, we got some rumors this week. Obviously, Louis Riddick was one that we've been talking about. That was, I believe, corroborated. I forget who exactly corroborated it, but that was corroborated as Riddick is a serious contender for the Falcons. So he'll join Rick Smith, former GM of the Texans, notably, as another top contender. And we also recently heard about Terry Fontenot, the Saints director, player personnel, or one of their top scout guys. He apparently is one of the main contenders for the position as well. And we've also heard some buzz about about Eric Bieniemy wanting Dorsey to come with him. I always get this tripped. I think it's John Dorsey, but I always want to say Glenn Dorsey because of Dave's famous.
Shout out to Dave Choate.
Yeah, Glenn Dorsey over Matt Ryan take from back in the day. But
hey. I wanted that too, man. I'm not even gonna lie.
Oh, okay, that's fair. Yeah. But Devin Siggy's asking about the Bieniemy Dorsey duo. I mean, I guess Dorsey's not a guy that I was super in love with. But if that's what it takes to get Bieniemy in here, then yeah, I'll have that conversation. But I mean, I know Eric and I are probably highest on Louis Riddick because we just have a lot of respect for him. But all of those names I think are intriguing. I think Rick Smith kind of got done dirty by the Texans. So I don't necessarily blame him for the downfall of that team. I don't think the ownership and the coaching staff did him any favors.
That was Bill O'Brien's fault. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah, it was. So, yeah. And Rick Smith is very respected. He has a connection to the Falcons, so that one makes a lot of sense. Louis Riddick obviously has a connection as a former player to the Falcons. And, if we read the tea leaves on his tweets, it sounds like he wants to come to Atlanta. He was making it pretty clear that he was always planning to move back to Atlanta and come back to Atlanta. So I think he is really interested in the job. So we'll see if the Falcons are that interested as well. But, yeah, Fontenot is one that I didn't really have on my radar, so that one was a little bit of a surprise. I think that's maybe the most interesting name that we've heard in terms of guys that we haven't talked about already. So what are you guys' thoughts on Fontenot as a possible GM candidate for the Falcons?
I don't know, man. How do we know the Saints are not trying to infiltrate?
Trying to infiltrate from the outside?
He's been there for 16 years, I saw.
Right.
So he can be an agent.
How do we know they're not putting him as a mole? Go get that GM job and ruin the team from the inside. How do we know that?
They would have to fire him for him to have that hatred.
Hey.
You need somebody who hates.
I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying. What are you talking about, man? All right. They put checks on players' heads in the playoffs.
Right?
All right?
Yeah.
They'll be willing to do anything.
Right. So, that was Greg, though. That was hashtag Greg Williams. So.
But it's off by Mickey Loomis and Sean Payton.
Well,
there's no way in hell that Sean Payton was just ignorant.
No, Sean Payton definitely knew. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. But yeah,
Can I share something? I share something with y'all about that whole bounty stuff? That stuff happens. It goes on, okay? It goes on. I've been in rooms. I'm not going to say where or when, but I've been in rooms where it was told hey, look here, if you do this and do that, I got an envelope of some money for you. It happens. You know what I'm saying? It's just, do you get caught?
Right.
I think we all knew it. We all know it happened, but the fact that it's the Saints, we kind of magnifying it a little bit more. Oh my God, I can't believe this is going on.
Yeah. Oh, I can't believe it. Get them. Yeah.
They were also dumb enough to keep recordings of it.
Well.
Right. Yeah. They were also stupid too.
Yeah, they were pretty dumb.
Right. But
yeah.
But this guy does have a long history with the team, so at least there shouldn't be a question as far as does he have front office experience. I mean, even though it's with one team, what do you say, Evan? 15, 16 years?
Yeah, 16.
Yeah.
That's a long time. So he's been with a team long enough to soak up some knowledge there.
Yeah. Clearly, there's been a lot of talented draft classes there, as much as it pains us to admit. Some quality talent brought in both free agency and in the draft. So
my thing is, would he try to bring that Saints blueprint over to Atlanta as far as trying to construct the team a certain way? that would be my question for him. Like, you know, what would be his outlook for this?
Right.
You know, when teams come from another one, they try to bring some modifications of that blueprint, you know, to that.
Yeah. Yeah. I am curious about that. Like, I mean, I suspect that, you know, I would think that he'd probably try to craft, you know, something around what the Falcons have and what the Falcons need. But yeah, I mean, he's been working under Loomis, so I mean, it stands to reason that like his plans are probably pretty similar to what Loomis likes if they've worked together for so long.
So you're gonna try to kick the can down the road for years?
Endlessly, yeah.
Oh hell no! No, dude.
I don't know if he's gonna play that fast and loose with the cap.
And 5 years from now, they're gonna be minus $90 million under the cap. Like, nah, bro, you can stay in New Orleans if that's the case.
I guess we'll see, right? I mean, I don't know if that's like Loomis wheeling dealing or like if Fontenot's like that as well. But yeah, that's a good question.
It would be interesting too, because he's like literally spent his whole career, it seems like, in Louisiana, because he went to or he was born there, and then he played at Tulane. I think that's in Louisiana also.
Mm-hmm. I think so.
So
Interesting the job, man.
Yeah. I absolutely think he's being planted in that case. Yeah, he was born and raised probably hating the Falcons.
This don't feel right, man. Right.
Right, but then he'd be like tanking his own personal career just to own the Falcons. So I mean, maybe the hatred runs that deep, but
I don't know, that paycheck. You know,
hey, you know what?
Money speaks.
They can fire him all they want, but they're probably still paying him money up under the table.
I guarantee you, they would probably erect a statue of him over in Louisiana or something.
Yeah.
But, you know, just like go back to the actual, you know, I of course, you guys know Louis Riddick is my number one choice.
Right.
I pointed out the other day, you know, he does have front office experience with Washington and with the Eagles. He's been around, drafted guys like Sean Taylor, Chris Cooley, Deshaun Jackson, Fletcher Cox. So he knows how to bring in talent. Just he doesn't have that long defensive background as far as running the team,
right?
But you know, neither does a fourth of the league. A lot of the league right now is being powered by young GMs that are, you know, getting their feet wet. So I think he would be a solid choice. Dorsey is interesting because he has some pros and some cons.
Yeah. Like he's done some good things, but yeah, I mean, I agree. Like there were some pretty big whiffs as well, and I don't know how much I blame him for everything that went on, but
he took Manziel.
He did take Manziel. Well,
no, that was somebody else. It was, I'm not gonna say the name. It was a friend of mine.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Well, I think yeah. I'm gonna go with Keenan on this one. But yeah, I mean, like you're gonna always have big misses. Like every GM's gonna have a big miss on their resume.
He took Corey Coleman.
Also not great.
Took Antonio Callaway,
who actually played decently, but was a knucklehead. So
hey, these are some Browns legends you're naming.
Browns legends. The bar is not high to clear in the recent memory with the Browns.
At the same time, that 9-3 Browns.
Right, like he did have a big role in that. So, yeah.
The other name is Reggie McKenzie, I think.
That's true. That's the other one.
Raiders general manager.
I don't know if I'm on that, man. Y'all still have to sell me.
Yeah.
Oh, and Brad Holmes, the scout or director of college scouting for the Rams, who was there with Aaron Donald and stuff. So
yeah, that's interesting too. Yeah. I mean, I think like these are all guys they should do their homework on and look into. But yeah, I mean, I think they'll probably not have to go to like their second tier guys. I hope that's not insulting to them, but like their second tier choices. Like I think they probably want. Someone like Louis Riddick or Rick Smith or, you know, these high-end, big-name guys. I think they're going to be looking at them first. And then if they miss, then they'll go to somebody else that they like. But otherwise, I think that's going to be their first choices. So,
here's my question. Like, I mean, I like a candidate that has been in different places, that has held different titles or whatever, because they've been able to see everything from different sides of it. But my main question is, when somebody comes here, how much actual power they gonna have? Because
Right.
from what I understand, Rich McKay still has a big say-so in everything that goes on up there. So how much, I guess, say-so is Rich still gonna have in that? Because he's second in command over there.
Right. Yeah, I mean, right. And is it like he's the president of the business, or is he the president of football ops and he's going to be consulted on all these football decisions? Because I agree, like if he's taking a hands-on approach on the football side, I think that's a problem, because
that would be a terrible idea.
I don't, for the record, I don't think that's the case. I think a lot of people are concerned about that. Right.
So they are going to give the new GM. They are going to be like, "Hey, that's your baby, that's your puppy." Go ahead.
I hope so.
I think so, because that's how it was with Dimitrov too. Like, I don't think they're going to shake that up and take power away from the GM just because Dimitrov, ended up not working out after like 8 seasons. So.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason McKay was fired as the general manager after 06, 07.
Yeah.
Or was it up? Yeah, after 07.
Right. Like I think I think they would have actually named him some sort of interim GM if he was actually going to be in running for this job, because he's the team president, which is usually a role that's separated from football ops. It is involved on the very highest level, but it's not a day-to-day thing. It's
with the candidates that we've seen so far. As you guys have noticed, there's been a mixture of guys that's never been a GM and guys that has been long tenured GMs. So just looking at the list of possible candidates, a number of those guys will not, in my opinion, would probably not take that position if McKay is going to have the final. I can't see Reggie McKenzie saying, "I'll come on as Falcons GM" if McKay is the final say so. I don't see Dorsey doing that.
No,
I don't see those guys coming on. I don't see Rick Smith doing that if McKay is going to be the head honcho.
Yeah.
Cause see, that's how I thought it was. I thought he still had a significant say so even when Dimitrov was here. So that's why I posed the question, does he? I thought he still had a big say so.
I think that was more towards the end.
Yeah, I think it was this season.
I thought that was more to light a fire under Dimitrov's ass.
Okay, all right. Okay.
Yeah.
I looked at it as blank saying, get your stuff together.
Get your shit together,
because you're on the way out. Yeah.
Okay.
On the way out. That's how I look at it.
And I think that's what they want. I don't think they want Rich McKay really doing that work, because he has a lot of other roles. He manages, I think, the business side, and I think he's also very involved with the NFL competition committee and various other committees and things like that. So I think he's kind of busy with that stuff, honestly. Unless he's gonna step away from that to become the GM or really take on him.
Want that role. Maybe he doesn't really want that role.
I don't know that he does, honestly. I know people assume that he does, but I don't want that pressure. I'm team president. I don't need to sully myself with the day-to-day anymore. I'm just gonna if you mess up, I'm gonna be the one that says you're fired. But otherwise, I don't need to go over the nitty-gritty of contracts or he might McKay is probably just a more direct stand-in for Arthur Blank, who we know is fairly hands-off. But look, they might want to be consulted on major decisions, do we trade Matt Ryan? Do we trade Julio Jones? Those are decisions that the owner might want a say in, and that's fair that the owner might want to say in those major franchise pillars. But do we sign Lee Ray Wilson to an extension? I don't think McKay's going to be anywhere near that sort of talk. Going forward. So
and I will say this about Rick Smith doing some research. It was the GM from 2006 to 2017 until he had to step away because of to take care of his wife. Mm-hmm. He only had in all that time, he's only had 2 draft classes where not one of those players was a Pro Bowler. Mm-hmm. So every one of his draft classes has generated at least 1 Pro Bowl player. Except for 2016 and 2010. And in the 2016 one was Will Fuller, who was probably about to become a Pro Bowler this year until the suspension.
Right. Yeah.
And so Like he's drafted some guys.
He has.
Like,
Yeah, I mean,
but-
Sean, like.
yeah, he's had his misses, of course, like every single general manager.
Yeah.
But he's definitely drafted some guys.
Yeah. So I'm interested in. I think the Falcons have a lot of quality guys to choose from. I think they're going to get someone good, and we'll see exactly who that is. I don't know if it's going to be like, are they going to prioritize the head coach more than the GM? I just don't know. But they're probably going to try to bring in two guys, as a package deal if they can. And because they're starting so early with the search, I think they're going to have a good idea of that.
Real quick, I want to, for the listeners, I want them to understand when it comes to looking for GMs, you want a GM that has some scouting background.
Mm-hmm.
Want a GM that possibly has a director of pro personnel background. The list of players that they drafted, pay attention to how many times those good players were really hidden. No one really knew about J.J. Watt. But Rick Smith did his homework, and he took a guy like J.J. Watt, and look how a guy like J.J. Watt prospered. Those are
Potential Hall of Famer.
Potential Hall of Fame, right? Those
Oh,
are
I don't think there's a potential. That's future Hall of Famer J.J. Watt.
Future.
Right.
Yeah. I used the wrong words. You're absolutely right.
It's easy to look at that they took this player and this player and this player, but this player might have been a top 10 player in the draft. But for example, it's easy to look at Dimitrov and say, "Man, he took Julio Jones." Well, Julio Jones is going to be good regardless.
Right. I mean, you traded up too. You traded a lot of resources for him. So it's good that you did that. Like, he's a great player, but
look at how many guys that they found that no one really knew about. You had to do your homework, and those guys end up turning out to be good players. That's why a guy like Rick Smith is a really good candidate.
Yeah.
A lot of the guys that he drafted were not household names.
Right.
And he made them into a really good coach.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's up there in terms of the top contenders. Like, I think Rick Smith and Louis Riddick, are two of the biggest, probably their top targets. But they do have, it'll just depend probably. If they really want Bieniemy in here and Bieniemy wants Dorsey, then they'll probably make that choice. But it just depends. Like I don't know if Arthur Smith, has a huge, preference for the GM. Like, maybe he wants Rick Smith so they have the name, the name combo. Like, they can have Arthur, like the Smiths, and they're gonna come in here. Atlanta's had pretty good luck with Smiths. Like, let's be real. Mike Smith, most successful head coach in team history. So, maybe just going back to the Smith would work out. I don't know, but a lot of that's gonna depend on what does the coach want, what does the GM want, are they going to work well together, all these things that we have absolutely no idea about because we're not privy to these discussions, we're not in the meeting rooms, we don't know who they're contacting. Like, in all likelihood, these guys that aren't currently employed, they've already contacted and had conversations with. Like, I know there's like rules about these things, but they're almost certainly already talking with their preferred candidates, and we'll just have to see how that works out, what happens there.
I was going to say Robert Kelly mentioned it in the chat. Brought on Arian Foster as an undrafted free agent.
Yeah,
like that's
a big
an absolute gem.
Yeah.
Was he 3-4 time Pro Bowl running back for them?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah, I mean Arian Foster at one point top 3 running back in the NFL. It's fair to say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He was great.
He was great in fantasy.
Oh yeah.
Hell of a fan.
Yeah, man. All right. We promised draft takes. We shall deliver some draft takes tonight. So I know Eric brought up a good question that I think is a great debate that we should have tonight. So we'll start off with that. And Eric's thing was, based on where the Falcons are picking at 8th overall, like if you had to choose between taking a quarterback at that spot, let's assume that, Trey Lance and Zach Wilson are available, because they tend to be there in draft scenarios at this point. So if you had a choice between a first-round quarterback or a first-round defensive player, top 10 player at both spots, it could be edge or corner or whoever you want. Where are you leaning at this point? And we can start with Eric because it was his question.
Oh, well, my preference would be quarterback because I felt for a long time that they really overlooked trying to bring in someone to groom behind Matt Ryan. Look, I know that Matt Ryan was their guy for years. I get that, but if there's an opportunity for them to take who may be their next quarterback, don't waste that opportunity. It's like now is the time to do it. I think the way the season is played out, if your guy is there and you want him, if Zach Wilson is there, you want Zach Wilson, and you know he's going to fit him because those opportunities may not come around. So I prefer taking the quarterback if he's there. But if they want to get their edge rusher there too, I'm not against it. To me, the way the season is played out, like now is the time to pull the trigger on getting that next franchise quarterback.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Yeah, Adnan, what do you think?
I'm completely with Eric, even though I'll be branded a massive Matt Ryan hater as a result, even though I'm saying the exact same stuff. That's just not a position you mess around with at all. Like quarterback, when you have this golden opportunity of picking potentially in the top 5, and hopefully it's the last time in a while that the Falcons will be picking in the top 5. You don't mess with this chance. Like if you have your guy, if the enemy comes in and he's in love with a Trey Lance, for example, you go get him. Like I just recall the Packers with the Aaron Rodgers draft, and they picked a little later in the 20s, but Aaron Rodgers was a guy that could have feasibly gone number 1 to the 49ers, who instead took Alex Smith. And we all remember the famous night in the war room with Aaron Rodgers getting passed over by everyone, and the cameras just kept zooming in on his face, and he just felt like completely alone as he was falling all the way down to the Packers. And that worked out really well for them, even though they had a Pro Bowler in Brett Favre at the time, who it didn't look like Favre didn't end up retiring for another 2 years. And, that seems to be in line with the timeline with the Falcons, where Matt Ryan would be here for another 2 years. You have a chance to groom the quarterback of the future, whether it's Lance, whether it's Wilson, behind Matt Ryan for a couple of years. And, also Ryan isn't a complete asshole like Brett Favre. And, I'm sure he actually would help the young rookie out. Whereas Favre just did everything he could to undermine Rodgers and, try and make life as difficult as possible. But yeah, I think that's if you want to go that route. I also would not be mad if we went pass rusher or cornerback to try and go all in for next season either.
Yeah. Evan, what are your thoughts there?
I don't really have a strong opinion on it, and I think that's a boring answer, but I can understand both the wanting to get a quarterback, which, would it really impact the team for probably like 3 years or more? And then getting pass rusher, it just depends if you think this team's ready to win now and you want to get, because, you look at our edge rushers, it's pathetic right now. So if you're we can still win, we can turn this around. I don't know who the head coach is going to be, but if they get Bieniemy and you're thinking, oh, well, they can win right now, we just have to have like a decent pass rush and Matt Ryan's a guy. I could understand that point, but I can understand looking towards the future and being like, if Trey Lance is there, he'll sit behind Ryan for like a year or two, and then maybe he's ready to take over. But also it could be that sort of thing where it's not ideal, but similar like how the Cardinals took Josh Rosen, and then, he's an afterthought now. Like they tested him. I guess they didn't like him. They prefer what Kyler Murray is doing, and I totally understand that. But at the same time, it's not like you're taking a quarterback at 1, and then if you take a guy at 1, that's the guy. Like Trevor Lawrence is the guy for whoever ends up taking him. Where if you're a little further down and you take a quarterback, I guess you could say you can see what happens with that. But I lean more towards the pass rush just because I kind of want to see Ryan get one more attempt at winning a Super Bowl. But yeah.
You could have the best of both worlds if you hit on some late round gems. And, that's one thing.
They did this year.
Yeah, that's one area where I'm going to miss Dan Quinn in regard to getting those defensive players in those middle rounds. Like, there's just a complete laundry list of them. So that's something where the new general manager will definitely have some big shoes to fill regarding evaluating defensive talent and bringing in, good defensive players later on in the draft.
That's why, like, this year in specific, if you pay attention to like PFF stuff, Terrell's the number one rookie corner, and then the number one linebacker is Walker. So they, got two gems right there. I mean, it's early; it's only the first season, but
Keenan?
Yeah.
Okay, if I'm the GM, I still think Matt's got some good football left in him. I'm not taking a quarterback unless it's Trevor Lawrence, and the only reason I say that is because I haven't seen much of the other guys. I've seen a lot of Trevor Lawrence because we're down in the South. We get a lot of Clemson games. I've been to Clemson, and I've seen Trevor Lawrence up close, and I'm like, wow, that's a good-looking fucking quarterback, right? If it's not him, I'm not taking one. And I'm going like Evan with a pass rusher because we need some help up front because we're not getting to the quarterback enough this year. We got Grady, but Grady's seeing a lot of double teams, and after a while, them double teams take a toll on you. So how much longer can Grady keep playing? He's already dealing with some health-wise anyways. How much longer can he keep taking on double teams? I mean, that takes it out of you after a little bit, week in and week out. So I think he needs some help to, so he can get back to doing his thing, getting one-on-ones out there. So I'm going with edge rusher or somebody on defense.
Yeah.
I can see both sides, but I know I've seen a lot of the fan base opposed, because of the obvious factor that the biggest need on the team is edge, which that is the case. I really want, because the thing is, I look, it was brought up earlier, with Green Bay situation, and they've done it twice, and we yet to see what becomes of Jordan Love, but for a franchise to do that twice, they're repeating a formula that they know worked the first time before. So I look at it and say, like, man, a lot of teams really don't do that because they want to avoid, quarterback controversy. They want to avoid headlines. They want to avoid, what might be a little bit. Is it time to start Tua? Should they start? They want to avoid that. But in actuality, in certain situations, like with Green Bay, it was smart. It was smart to take Aaron Rodgers. We know Brett Favre was still playing good, but it was smart to take Aaron Rodgers because when Aaron Rodgers got his time to start, he was ready. I think that's what we're going to see from Jordan Love. And I think the Falcons should approach it this way because Matt Ryan still has some good football left in him. But, man, how often has 50 years has been moved in the draft inside the top 10?
Right. Yeah.
And I was going to say the Packers did it even more than twice. They took Brian Braum in 2008 in the second round. Like, that's when Rodgers was just getting started. So they're looking at this formula of every few years, let's look into drafting, a quarterback, seeing how well he can do, just in case. They took Brett Hundley a few years later as well. So that's something that now I'm sure Aaron Rodgers isn't too pleased about the fact that they've never drafted him a wide receiver. So that's been a mistake they've made. But yeah, it is like
ego. Any wide receiver.
Yeah, that is true. But it is that strategy of every few years you get a quarterback just in case he becomes, a big thing, just because of how important that position is.
Yeah.
Do you all feel confident in those guys like Justin Fields, Lance, and Lawrence? Well, I know Lawrence is probably definite, but are you all in on all three of those guys? And then who was the others? Zach Wilson and somebody else?
I'm really becoming a Zach Wilson fan.
Yeah.
That guy is growing on me by the week. I'm not sold on Trey Lance. Kevin is.
I like Trey Lance. I do, but
I don't. A lot of people look at his numbers from last year, and I think he had 34 touchdowns. And
yes. He had one INT. That's not gonna repeat. I don't think that's gonna repeat. But it's not going to. But
Like there's such a smoke screen, and I want to stay away from something like that. But ultimately, you know, I like I said, I like Justin Fields, I like Zach Wilson, but ultimately, what I want to see the Falcons do, I want to see them avoid that phase where you're starting a rookie quarterback and you're really starting from the ground up. Because we see from teams before that can take years. I mean, the Browns have had a revolving door starting rookie quarterbacks. It's taking them so long.
The issue is when you start a rookie, you have to give him a few years. Like you're tied to that player, and if he turns out to be someone who sucks, then it's like you're restarting, and there's no chance you're winning in this league without a quarterback.
Yeah.
I think the last team to really win a Super Bowl with their quarterback being subpar was the Broncos with Peyton Manning's last year. And even then you had Peyton Manning, an experienced veteran in the playoffs, and you know that veteran savvy came out in that AFC Championship game against the Patriots, and he did enough in the Super Bowl to game manage through. So it's not exactly like the same scenario as starting someone who's younger and not as good.
Yeah.
Jaguars is another one that comes to, you know, they had that 1 year where they made the title game, but look how long that they've actually had continuity as far as, you know, consistent winning.
Right.
Because they can't get the main position together. I want the Falcons to avoid that.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
By the way, the second time I've randomly shouted out him in this show's history.
Very nice. Yes.
I think it's invaluable when a young player, especially at that quarterback position, can come in and learn from a former MVP, 12, 13-year quarterback that's had a lot of success. Because there's so much stuff by just maybe not even him telling you, but you just watching him and you just like, oh shit, that was why did I think of that? That's brilliant. You know what I mean? And I'm just sitting there thinking about the times when I come in, I had older guys like Bob Whitfield, and you see something that they do and you be like, hey, why did you do that? And then they tell it to you, just like, why did I think of that?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, especially at that quarterback position, you know, you come in and you learn from a former MVP who's had his ups and downs, you know what I mean? Who's played in the biggest games, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can just watch him, how he handles himself on the field, off the field, in the meeting room, with the press, and just how to be that face of the franchise that you got to be if you're the quarterback. Really, you know?
Yeah.
And Matt Ryan is a type who would lend a helping hand. Like Matt Ryan does not seem like a Brett Favre type who's going to be jealous and who's going to like do everything to you know make the quarterback's life miserable.
Right.
Man, I'm telling y'all, Matt Ryan is as cool as a fan. What y'all see on TV is what you get when you meet him, man. He cool as a fan.
I mean, even with the Chiefs didn't really need to take that home.
Right.
Alex Smith was still playing solid.
He was.
But
they
they
were still
wanted to take that position to a next level. And if you recall, Patrick Mahomes sat his rookie year. Like he didn't start.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He did. Yeah.
So, yeah.
It will be interesting too, just because of under Dimitrov, they didn't seem to like at all interested in grooming anything behind Matt Ryan. Because since they drafted Matt Ryan, Sean Remfrey was the only quarterback they drafted, and that was a 7th round pick in 2013. So they didn't care at all.
Yeah. That always bothered me. Like I'm not saying take a guy that can put heat on Matt, but
at least like a 4th rounder that you can maybe groom, and if he's good, you can trade him.
Right. He can be trade value, just like with the past with Garoppolo. Like it's just that always bothered me.
Or with the Washington football team when they traded up for RG3 and then they still took Cousins in the 4th round.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Didn't the Patriots trade Jacoby Brissett to the Colts for something?
Yeah.
I mean, stuff like that.
Right. It's
and
always
you have Tom Brady.
Look at the Eagles.
You know,
they're in the situation with Carson Wentz and now Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
Pass out there and see what you can do.
Yeah, after Wentz completely fell off a cliff this season.
I don't know what happened there, man.
Terrible.
That is rough. Yeah. But, so the fans, the viewers tonight have voted, and quarterback was the choice of fans as well. So drafting a quarterback in the top 10. It was close. The quarterback won with 57% of the vote. And then Edge was in 2nd place, cornerback in 3rd place, splitting the defensive votes. But I mean, I'm with you guys on. I feel like if the right quarterback is there, then they probably should do it because they might not get another chance. Like this is a very good quarterback class, you're going to have a lot of years where it's not this good. So, like, I do like Trey Lance. I would not be at all upset if they pick Zach Wilson instead. Like, he might be more what they want, and that's fine. Like, I think Zach Wilson's more pro-ready. I think Trey Lance has a higher ceiling. So with the knowledge that you can sit Lance for a year or two and let him learn behind a really good NFL quarterback in Matt Ryan, who's going to teach him the right way to do things, how to prepare, not put too much pressure on him, I think maybe you swing for the ceiling a little bit more, but Zach Wilson's safer. Like, honestly, Zach Wilson is kind of like a little bit like Matt Ryan, honestly. Like, he's a very good passer. He doesn't offer that, like, really tantalizing dual threat play that Trey Lance does, but he's good enough as a runner. Like, he's more mobile than Matt Ryan was when he was younger, but, like,
Wilson definitely has a better arm.
Yeah, Wilson definitely has a better arm too. You're right. I don't think he's as polished as Ryan was as a passer coming out, but he's a very good player. He's certainly worthy of that pick. And honestly, if I had to say right now, like, if the Falcons are still picking at 8, someone's probably going to trade up ahead of them for the third quarterback, whoever that is. So they're probably not going to have the choice of Lance or Wilson. I think they will have one of them available.
I was going to say, if we're picking high enough, then I would not be mad at all if you traded back with a desperate team and just got a treasure chest of picks.
Well, yeah, they'll have that option. We didn't talk about that, but they'll have that option.
Like, we have a lot of picks this year, supplemental picks. But if you can trade back with, let's say, the Chicago Bears or someone like that, and they just give you the house, and that's a big thing for a new general manager to have, who does have to maneuver through, a painful cap situation to have all of those picks at your disposal this year and next year, because it'll take at least a first rounder in 2021, the second this year, maybe you can get a second rounder next year, something insane, because when teams trade for quarterbacks, they trade big.
Or a team New England will not be sold on Cam Newton, maybe wanting to trade up for a quarterback, possibly. We keep hearing stuff about Washington. They may not be in love with Dwayne Haskins. They may be willing to move up and get someone that Alex Smith can groom a little bit. So they're going to have some options, in my opinion.
Yeah.
This is going to be. They're in a draft pool where they're one of the worst teams in the league, of course, but they can have some flexibility this year because of where they're drafting and how many picks they already have.
Yeah.
Now they probably can have about 10 picks already right now with the original picks along with the comp picks, and then they can trade back and pick up an extra few picks. So,
or we can trade up and take Jamar Chase.
Yeah.
All right,
there you go. There you go. That's always.
All right, man. I'll holler.
Eric's logging out. Yeah. No, I mean, yeah.
And that's all we need.
Yeah, hey, I wouldn't be mad at them trading down and getting a few low ones and twos. You know what I mean? Because technically, them twos are ones. They just couldn't get selected in that first round.
Right.
The talent.
Yeah. I mean, I think trading down with a team like the Bears, like, they're probably asking for the Bears first rounder next year. But they could potentially also get like a second and a third this year, maybe, or something like that. It just depends on if you want the picks now or later. They already have a lot of picks now. This is a good class. I don't know. I don't know if I would rather take next year's first or the second and the third this year. I'm not sure. But
we maybe could get it all, to be honest.
I mean, it depends on how desperate they are. Like, because if you go off the trade value chart, like, you're thinking about one of those picks. But quarterback trades don't follow that chart. That chart's better for like later picks, in my opinion, like trading for later picks. But trading up for quarterbacks is a different beast entirely.
A team like the Bears, like, imagine if they had like a good quarterback. Like that defense is legit. If they can bring back Allen Robinson, who I love, is one of, a very good wide receiver. David Montgomery is kind of starting to play better toward the end of this year.
Right.
They need a better offensive line, which was banged up a little bit, but like, they've been screaming for a quarterback over there for years. Because just like we talked about, Mitch Trubisky, number 2 overall pick, whom they traded up for, passed on Mahomes and Deshaun Watson for him too. But he ended up being a bust, and now look at where the Bears are. Even though they have all of these pieces around, who are very good, they can't even get to the playoffs.
Yeah.
Hey, I got friends who are Bears fans, and they are pissed about seeing how Mahomes is doing and looking at what they got. They are.
Oh my goodness!
They feel some kind of way about that.
That was a potential goat that he passed up on.
The Vikings are another team that possibly could be in the pool for a quarterback. And I'm looking at their draft order now. They have 2/3, 3/4, and 2/5 this year. So I mean, they got some capital too, where they can look to trade up and possibly. I mean, I don't think they're sold on Kirk Cousins either, being the guy.
Oh, they're definitely not.
Yeah.
The Falcons are sitting in a good situation with teams below them that actually need a quarterback.
Yeah.
For me to trade out of it, I need at least next year's first.
At least. That's where we start the conversation. Yeah, that's where we start. And I'd like your third this year too, probably.
Yeah, if I'm the Vikings, give me a third, give me a fourth, and give me next year's first.
And then we'll talk. And then you can package a bunch of you can package your fifths to move back into day two.
Like that's the start negotiate. That's just to get to the table.
Yeah.
Hey, and you also talking about this year's one as well, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, of course.
Taking that one and give me 3 picks this year or 2 or 3 picks this year, and then give me next year's one. Yeah, we can.
Right.
Yeah. Ideally, if they are desperate enough, you get this year's second as well, next year's one, and you can, you have some premium picks to work with.
This is something I don't think Dimitrov would have done.
Oh, hell no.
Hangs the phone up.
Yeah, he just be like, nah.
Dimitrov blocked the numbers of every GM who was picking after him.
Yeah. I mean, it's bad. But all right. Well, we are over an hour and a half here, so we're going to go ahead and get started on wrapping up. Before we do, guys, I want to remind you to like and subscribe if you haven't already. It helps other folks find the show, and your subscriptions also help the channel grow, so we appreciate that as well. Links are in the show description for our new Discord server where you can come and chat with Falcons fans. It was a lot of fun on game day last week. The Patreon for those that are interested in supporting the show on a monthly basis, getting some perks as well. And also, the show's on Twitter at Falcoholic Live and all that good stuff. So let's get to the co-hosts this evening. First of all, I want to thank Keenan Forney. He is on Twitter at K4065 on Twitter, right?
Yes, sir.
That's
right.
And
at F65 Performance on Instagram.
Yes, because I was like, okay, wait, which one is it? I got to get them right. Yeah, so we got them right. Good. Anything else? Anything else you want to plug, Keenan, while we're here?
Man, you know what? One of my kids just got him an offer to Point University today from Renew. Congratulations, big fella. Another one of my kids, Daniel Calhoun, out of Centennial High School, big offensive tackle. He's been offered by Tennessee and Georgia. He just got invited to the Georgia Elite Classic All-Star game. So congratulations, Daniel.
Congratulations.
Just talked with Bob Whitfield today, and we're working on some offensive line marketing training, so to speak. I know I'm not saying that right, but we're kind of in the early stages. But
very cool.
I'll keep you guys abreast of it. You know what I'm saying? It's great for you old linemen. Y'all check me out on Twitter, K4065, F65 Performance. I'm here for you.
Hey, who you got in the Forney Bowl this weekend?
Say what?
Who you got in the Forney Bowl this weekend? You play with the Chargers and the Falcons.
Oh, man. You know what? Both teams were good to me, but I got to go with the home team.
Yeah. This is a Falcons show. We appreciate it.
I just realized we haven't talked about the Chargers game at all.
No, not at all.
I didn't want to jinx it because I feel like
because he's got that helmet back there.
Right. I mean, it's like, like, what is there really to say at this point about this game? I feel like there's going to be a black hole. Yeah.
Hey, I hope you have Justin Herbert in fantasy this week.
Yeah.
Keenan, man, shout out to your son, man, for making that team, that basketball team, man. I know you're a proud dad out there, man. So.
Oh man, yes sir, appreciate it.
Yeah, Keenan out here helping keep the offensive linemen alive out here, helping keep the positions alive.
He is. We appreciate that. Definitely check him out. Young offensive lineman, any offensive lineman really, he'll get you set up, get you on the right path for what you need to learn. All right, guys. Also with us tonight, we've got Evan Birchfield. He's on Twitter at Evan Birchfield. Very easy to remember. Evan, anything you'd like to plug?
No, just read thefalcoholic.com. Even though the game's not happening and it's really boring when it does happen. Vote for the Pro Bowl. It's not hard to do, and Younghoe Koo deserves it. A couple other guys. So.
All pro kicker.
All pro
year.
Younghoe Koo. Come on, let's get out of here. Justin Tucker, enter Younghoe Koo. So he at least deserves the Pro Bowl. I think he's gonna make the Pro Bowl at least. So
you my boy.
And sadly, there won't be one for him to actually.
Well, there won't be one, but
Hey, I'm going full all pro. That's the best player on our team the past few weeks.
I don't know who you take above him.
Right. I mean, it would just be like Justin Tucker or something for the name.
Didn't Tucker miss like 2 field goals?
He did. Yeah.
They jinxed him. They jinxed him so bad if you watched it.
Yeah, he hurt his candidacy with that one a little bit. So
he made like 71 within the 40 or something, and then they said it. And
they kept saying it. Yeah, they said it like 4 times. It's rude, man.
Yeah.
Also with us tonight, Adnan Ikic. He's on Twitter at SayWhичWay. Adnan, anything you're working on you want to let the people know about?
Yes, I just had one of my articles go up today talking about how after the Saints loss, nobody on this coaching staff should be back next year. So I go in on that one, and I'll have my What If the Falcons Win or Lose going later on this week.
Yep, check that out, guys. All good stuff. And finally, Eric Robinson. He's on Twitter at _Eric_Robinson. Eric, your turn to plug your stuff.
I got a fresh column out now for my key takeaways from the Saints game. Go ahead and give that a look. I gave a certain shout out to a particular player in that column because of his late game decision making. I think you guys are able to put two together. Also, just check out the Falcons site as a whole, man. We got everything you need. Game previews, fantasy takes, draft analysis, everything you need right there, man. Check us out.
Yep, check that out, guys. It's good hashtag content. And like I said, I'm Kevin Knight at Falcoholic Kevin on Twitter. I don't like to toot my own horn, but I'm a pretty good follow, I think. I entertain myself, so I can only imagine what it's going to work for you guys. But yeah, it's trash. Yeah. Thanks, Eric. We appreciate your support, buddy. No, guys, but like Eric said, follow the site. Check out our stuff. I will have a mock draft, full mock draft coming out tomorrow, so I know folks are looking forward to that. I said I would have a sneak peek tonight, so your sneak peek is that a quarterback is selected in this draft, and it's early. But you're gonna have to tune in to find out which one. So that's the suspense. So it's a good draft, I think. But I'm sure half of you will hate it and half of you will love it, because that's how you know you have a good mock draft. If everyone loves it.
Are we taking Jamar Chase and converting him to quarterback?
Yes, Adnan, you got it. The Galaxy Brain take. Yeah, and I didn't think anyone was gonna figure it out, but darn, yeah. No, yeah. We're not doing that yet. That's for like the 17th edition of the mock draft, and we got to really start getting creative, in the off season. But otherwise, guys, check that out.
Had there been no season because of the pandemic, we
would have been doing some wild. We'd be talking about the 2021 draft for our Madden franchise, and we'd be playing the games every Sunday. We had a whole line of content that will never be seen.
No,
that we
literally,
can take out. Yeah.
I swear, we had an article series. Evan was going to play and simulate the games, and I was literally going to write press releases about each one of those simulated games. Like, if it got to Plan Z at that point.
Yep.
I did the first one, and then I didn't realize that Twitch doesn't save your video, and I'm like,
no.
oh, okay.
Oh, big RIP. Yeah, big RIP there.
I was desperate for some content.
Yeah, we were luckily we got to avoid that particular scenario, so I'm just gonna be thankful for that one. But we were ready for you guys to bring you content in the darkness that may have happened that we thankfully narrowly avoided. But guys, once again, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you guys. We'll be back on Sunday for the post-game show. Check that out. That's a lot of fun. Until then, guys, enjoy the rest of your week. For those of you that game, I know you're itching to get to Cyberpunk, so we won't keep you anymore tonight. Have a